Stops along with Bill O'Donnell, saying hello from ice-cold Lakefront Stadium in Cleveland, Ohio, where the Orioles and the Twins are playing an unprecedented 12 o'clock noon ball game. And the temperature in Cleveland early this morning was about 31 degrees, and right now is standing somewhere in the vicinity of 36 degrees. The Indians and the Orioles, if I did say the Twins, I stand corrected, will attempt it this afternoon with a couple of left-handers, Cuellar for the Orioles and Sam McDowell for the Cleveland Indians. We'll run down the starting lineups for you and then come back and talk a little bit about Messrs. Cuellar and McDowell. For manager Earl Weaver's Orioles, this afternoon the batting order reads as follows. Leading off and playing in left field will be Merv Rettenmund. Batting number 2, the Orioles' second baseman Dave Johnson. Batting number 3, first baseman Boog Powell. The number 4 hitter will be right fielder Frank Robinson. Batting 5 in center field will be Paul Blair. The number 6 hitter will be third baseman Brooks Robinson. Batting 7 will be catcher Andy Etchebarren. The number 8 hitter, shortstop Mark Belanger. And the pitcher will be Mike Cuellar. Now, for the homestanding Cleveland Indians, who are off to one of their very best starts in recent years, Larry Brown will lead off and play shortstop. Batting number 2 at third base will be Craig Nettles. The number 3 hitter in right field will be Veda Pinson. Batting 4, the outstanding Cleveland catcher, Ray Fosse. The number 5 hitter is first baseman Ken Harrelson. Batting number 6 in left field will be Roy Foster. Batting 7 at second base will be Eddie Leone. The number 8 hitter will be center fielder Buddy Bradford. And the pitcher will be Sam McDowell. Now, McDowell, against the Orioles, has not had such a splendid record. As a matter of fact, last year, he was 0-2 against the Birds. Lifetime in the American League, 9 years against the Orioles, has seen McDowell win 9, and he has lost 13. Cuellar last year split 2 verdicts against the Cleveland Indians. He won 1 and he lost 1. And Cuellar shows a lifetime record of 3 victories and 2 defeats at the expense of the Cleveland Indians. The umpires are making their appearance down below us, and they will be assigned in the following order. The plate umpire on balls and strikes will be Jim Odom. At first base, Marty Springstead. At second base, a newcomer to the American League umpiring crew, Larry McCoy. And at third base, the veteran and the crew chief of this crew, Jim Honachek. Right now, we'll pause briefly for station identification. This is the Baltimore Oriole Baseball Network. Well, Sam McDowell is making his second start of the year. He was not the pitcher of record Thursday, the Tribe's home opener, when the Indians took a 3-2 verdict over the Red Sox. In that ball game, Sam pitched 7 innings. He gave up 2 earned runs and struck out 9 to give him now a career total of 1,976 strikeouts, which puts him only 11 behind Red Ruffing, who is the number 2 ranking strikeout pitcher in the league. Sam needs only 24 strikeouts to reach the 2,000 plateau. He holds the American League record for fanning 10 or more batters in a game. He's done that 70 times during his career. He tied American League record by striking out 300 or more batters in a season twice. He has fanned 200 or more batters in a season 6 consecutive years, which is only 1 shy of the American League mark, which is held by Rube Waddell and Walter Johnson, and it ties the National League mark, which is held by Sandy Koufax. Sam has pitched 4 one-hitters in his career, and the flame-throwing McDowell, tough any time, is going to be, we would think, particularly tough this afternoon in Cleveland because of the almost frigid temperatures. When we arrived in Cleveland yesterday, shortly after 10 o'clock, check that, make it about a little bit after 11 o'clock, about 11:30, the temperature was somewhere in the vicinity of 62 to 3 degrees. And by around 1 o'clock in the afternoon, it had started to plummet, and it went all the way down into the low 30s last night. They had snow in the Cleveland area. At 8 o'clock this morning, the downtown temperature in Cleveland was 31 degrees. And at game time right about now, We're told that the temperature is in the middle 30s. Well, let's talk a little bit about the Orioles' Mike Cuellar. This is his second start of the year. He is not involved in his opening decision. His first start Friday against Detroit, he worked 7 innings, allowed 8 hits, 5 runs, 4 of those earned. He walked 3, didn't strike out anybody, and, of course, was not involved in the decision. As we mentioned earlier, a year ago, he won a game and lost a game against Cleveland. He beat Barry Moore April the 8th and then lost to Dean Chance August the 6th. His lifetime mark against the Indians, 3 wins and 2 defeats. In his 2 years with the Orioles, Cuellar has compiled a 47-19 record and has pitched 39 complete ball games. And now, ladies and gentlemen, with pride from Cleveland, here is our national anthem. Back with the start of this afternoon's game in just 1 minute. Well, on the mound is the big, hard-throwing left-hander Sam McDowell, and the Indians have gotten off to one of their better starts in recent years. 2 years ago, you may recall, this Cleveland team lost 15 of their first 16 games. As a matter of fact, last year, they lost 8 of their first 11. And last year, the Orioles had some mighty fine days at the expense of the Cleveland Indians. Overall on the year, the Orioles won 14 games at the expense of the Indians and lost only 4. And they had identical records here in Cleveland and at Memorial Stadium in Baltimore, as the O's won 7 and lost 2 here and at home. Just doesn't seem right at lunchtime to say it's baseball time, but it is, and here's our partner, Bill O'Donnell.
Thank you, Chuck, and good afternoon, everybody, here from Cleveland, Ohio, right by the shores and the chilly shores, as Chuck has pointed out, of Lake Erie. Sam McDowell with his first pitch. Here's a check swing ground ball, right of the mound, fielded by McDowell. Throws in time to Harrelson, and they get Rettenmund on the very first pitch. McDowell came in with a breaking ball right in hand side to Rettenmund and gets him on the check swing tapper to the right and in front of the mound. Rettenmund is out for the first out now of the ball game, and here's Davy Johnson. Well, the Orioles, in a sense, beginning their second week of the 1971 American League campaign. And if you look back and say that what were the highlights of the first week, well, Davy Johnson had to be one of the big highlights. Here's a curve and a strike held high to Johnson. The Tribe infield, Nettles third, Brown short, Leone second base, and Harrelson at first. And the Tribe outfield, Foster left, Bradford center, Pinson's the right fielder. Breaking ball is inside. So we go 1 ball, 1 strike to Dave Johnson. In the first 5 games, he's tattooed the baseball to an average of .429, and Johnson will be followed here in the first inning by Boog Powell. McDowell in his second start with his 1-1 to Johnson. He goes high and away, 2 balls and 1 strike. It wasn't too many years ago that just about all you saw from McDowell was instant heat, fastball after fastball. But in the last 3 years or so, a different kind of McDowell. 2-1, there's the fastball, and he gets strike 2. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Johnson, who in the first week of the season, plus the .429 average, had a home run and 7 RBIs. That's what he has coming in today against McDowell and the Indians. 28-year-old McDowell to Johnson, 2-2. He's high with that fastball. Fosse had to reach way upstairs and pull it down. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Johnson. Johnson had quite an average against the Indian pitching a year ago, well over 300. McDowell with the pay pitch to Johnson now as he peers through to Fosse. Here he comes, 3-2. Here's a line drive out to left field and right on the foul line, a base hit. Johnson turns first base, headed for second. Foster up with the ball out by the Oriole bullpen, and Johnson stands at second base with a 1-out 2-bagger that hit right on the left field foul line. So Johnson begins week number 2 just as he ended week number 1 with another base hit. He's at second base with 1 away, and here's Boog Powell. Orioles didn't have to wait too long before coming into Cleveland yesterday to find out that last night's ball game had been rained out. We were only in the hotel about, less than an hour, I'd say. And the Indian management said no game tonight because of the rain. McDowell stretching and looking to Johnson's lead. He throws a breaking ball in the dirt. As a matter of fact, it was in the opposite batter's box to Powell, and that's a good-looking young catcher, Fosse, with a fine save. Leon, the shortstop, or rather Brown, the shortstop, is not overshifted. He is, however, just about back of Johnson's lead off second base. Leon, the second baseman, has retreated to the outfield grass, as has first baseman Harrelson. Powell with McDowell at 1-0. High outside, a fastball. McDowell's been a little bit upstairs now with pitches both to Johnson and to Powell to fall behind 2 balls and no strikes. Nettles at third, extremely wide of the line, and he's back about halfway. The outfield is not playing Powell to pull. That is to say the center fielder Bradford is straight away, plus the right fielder Pinson. The 2-0 pitch is inside. Fosse thought it had the inside corner, but the plate umpire Odom said no. Odom plus Marty Springstead, McCoy, and Honachik, the American League umpires, are in this ball game this afternoon. Johnson with the lead at second base as Brown is right in behind him. The next delivery is high and it's tight. Ball 4. Powell draws the walk and Johnson stays at second base. 2 on, only 1 away. And here is Frank Robinson now against McDowell. Of all the Orioles on the current roster, Frank Robinson has the best career batting average against the Indians. Career-wise, he bats .311 against the Indians. A year ago in the championship season, Frank batted .320. McDowell with Powell at first base with Johnson at second, and they both get their lead. McDowell to Frank Robinson. He curves him inside. Ball 1. McDowell extremely tall, 6 feet 6 inches tall, 220 pounds, coming off a 1970 season in which he won 20 ball games and lost 12. Of course, he had more starts than any other member of the Indian staff, 39 starts a year ago. Stretching right down to the belt, he throws 1-0. He's high, 2 balls and no strikes. So McDowell, a little bit of early control difficulty. It began against Johnson, and then Dave doubled. It continued with Powell, whom he has walked, and he's fallen behind Frank Robinson, 2 balls and no strikes, with Blair on deck. McDowell with his 2-0 off the set. Here's a cut and a miss, 2 balls and 1 strike. The Cleveland newspapers, in a sense, very happy, I'm sure, to see the Indians a good start. And in another sense, they built up this series, which was heard in a way yesterday by having Game 1 wiped out, building up this series as a duel for first place, although we are still very early in the season. Frank Robinson, 2-1. A ground ball down third is foul, so it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Orioles have the good quick start. They've won 4 of 5. The Indians, after losing the opener on the road, that was at Detroit, have won 3 in a row in this park against the Red Sox and have had their very best start since 1966. It's 2-2 to Frank Robinson. With 1 away, Johnson at second base. And Powell a better lead at first base with Harrelson playing deep against Frank Robinson. McDowell, before looking into Fosse, gazing right behind him to Johnson's leadoff second base. The outfield shades left against Frank. McDowell, 2-2, delivers a fastball grounded to short. Brown flips to Leon, one out at second, to first for a double play. A hot smash that Brown, Leon, and Harrelson turn into a twin killing to retire the side. No runs, one hit, and one man left. In the middle of the first inning, the Orioles nothing, and the Indians are coming to bat.
Well, Cuellar takes the mound against the Cleveland Indians, and we've got a 2-hour head start on everything in our league today, like the Tiger-Yankee game that's scheduled for Yankee Stadium this afternoon, 2 o'clock. Lolich against Stottlemyre, the probables. Later this afternoon, Milwaukee's in Chicago, playing against Tommy John on that one. Oakland will be in Minnesota this afternoon about 2:15. Boston is at Washington tonight, likewise California, Kansas City tonight. Okay, Bill.
Well, Chuck, here's a veteran member of the Indian roster, their shortstop, Larry Brown. He's had the good, quick American League start. From Cuellar, here's a curve, a little low inside, ball one. Brown's early season average in the first 4 Indian games is at .357. And since 1963, he's been strictly in the uniform of the Indians. Cuellar's next delivery is a ground ball foul back at third. 1 ball and 1 strike to Larry Brown. Alvin Dark has Greg Nettles following Brown, and then right fielder Vada Pinson. 1 ball and 1 strike. Brooks at third, Belanger short, Johnson second, Powell first. Here's a looping fly ball to right field. Frank Robinson tearing in, still running, and makes the catch about chest high in shallow right field. Larry Brown is out number 1 near the bottom of the first inning. A fellow who, surprisingly enough, had a slightly higher fielding average among American League third basemen than Brooks Robinson last year. The Indian third backer, Greg Nettles. Nettles swings left-handed. He goes right back deep to the box and with his feet planted kind of close together. Cuellar has retired Larry Brown. Working Nettles. Inside low, ball 1. Brooks comes wide at third. The outfield shades to right. Shortstop Belanger a bit near the bag over at second base. Cuellar pumping and throwing 1-0. Here's a curve and a foul off the end of the bat to the netting. 1 ball and 1 strike to Nettles. Cuellar deals 1-1. He's high. 2 balls and 1 strike. Nettles finished his first year in an Indian uniform last season with a batting average of .235. Here's the 2-1 to him. High, 3 balls and 1 strike. Nettles played in all but 5 Cleveland ball games last year, meaning he was part of 157 ball games. And he hit the long ball quite a bit last season, 26 times to go along with 62 runs batted in. The next pitch from Cuellar is a strike called. Dealt high. He was on the take. The Indian dugout on the first base side has Vada Pinson right outside it on deck. 3-2 to Nettles. A foul over to the Indian dugout. And Ray Fosse over near the bat rack had a duck down to get away from that foul ground ball. 3 balls and 2 strikes still to Nettles. Cuellar trying to warm up again. Delivers 3-2. Ball 4 is high. If somebody said this would be a tough day to loosen up, they'd be kind of charitable because it's a day that I don't think anybody's going to loosen up very easily at all. Nettles has been walked. With 1 gone, the batter will be the right fielder, also a left-hand batter, Vada Pinson. Nettles at first base, and he's held by Powell. Pinson was the Indians' leading run producer a year ago. Cuellar gazing to Nettles' lead. Now he comes to the plate, and here's a high fly deep to center field. Blair is getting back, still going back, and there. And Blair for out number 2. Pinson gone on a very high deep fly ball to center field. Now, truly the sensation of the Indian Ball Club a year ago, their great young catcher, Ray Fosse. At a special luncheon held here in a Cleveland hotel yesterday, in honor of the Indians, the master of ceremonies, in referring to a certain National League catcher, said that the bench is the Ray Fosse of the National League. Nettles with 2 gone. A very good lead at first base against the left-hander Cuellar. Here's a ground ball wrapped to the shortstop. Belanger goes back. It's in the glove. Throws to second in time for the fourth play on the sliding Nettles. Belanger to Johnson. They cut down Nettles for out number 3. Nothing across, the runner left at the end of 1 full inning. The Orioles nothing, and the Indians nothing.
Reliability.
In the National League, the New York Mets and the Montreal Expos were to play this afternoon up in Montreal, and we just received word that game has been canceled, postponed, due to wet grounds. Later on this afternoon, the National League, Houston will be at San Francisco. Tonight, the Pirates are in Philadelphia, Cincinnati at Atlanta, Chicago and San Diego, and St. Louis and Los Angeles.
No score, Chuck, as we go to the top of the second inning, and the Birds bring up Blair, Brooks Robinson, and Andy Etchebarren. Blair, batting right-handed, looks at a strike with a McDowell breaking ball, knee-high on the outside corner. Blair now a little bit disgusted on Odom's first call of strike 1, has paced over to the on-deck area to also pick up a rosin bag. 1 strike to Blair. Tied at third, well inside the line against Blair as third baseman Nettles. McDowell ahead. Winds and works. Curved. Strike 2. This one was at the belt. So McDowell has gone knee-high outside corner for a strike. Belt high and right down the middle of the plate for strike 2. Deep man in the Indian outfield is the left fielder Foster. The 2-strike McDowell delivery way outside. McDowell in the early going now has had better control with breaking pitches and with his good fastball. Fastball's been rising. 1 and 2 coming into Blair. High, another fastball just popping right into that big mitt of Ray Fosse. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Blair waiting on McDowell now, very deep in the box. They'll wind up on the 2-ball, 2-strike pitch. Hit high, out to center field. Bradford running in, still coming in, still moving, and there for the putout in shallow center. Blair skies to Bradford for out number 1. Bradford had a late start, was standing flat-footed, might have lost the ball as it came off Blair's bat, then recovered, charged in and made the putout. Here is Brooks Robinson, 8 base hits in the first week of the season in 21 at-bats, and that means a Brooks Robinson average of .381. We talked about Johnson being one of the first-week highlights. Don Buford has to be in the same category. Brooks, of course, with a strong bat in the first few games, and also the good pitching of McNally. 2 complete games and 2 wins. Fine outside. Ball 1 to Brooks Robinson. Speaking of fellows like Brooks and Buford and Johnson and McNally, they and the rest of the Orioles back home to start a series against the Yankees at the stadium on Friday night at 8. So 1-0 from McDowell to Brooks. High outside, fastball, 2 balls and no strikes. Etchebarren is kneeling on deck. Foster in left playing Brooks as he did against Blair. Back kind of deep. The 2-0 delivery is cut at and missed. McDowell looked like he might have turned that ball over to Brooks Robinson. 2 balls and 1 strike. McDowell's got all the equipment. Fastball, curve, slider. Real good change. The 2-1 from McDowell. Swing and a miss. 2-2. 1 away, top of the second inning. There is no score here at Cleveland. Brooks on the 2-2er. It's high, 3-2. McDowell still not as sharp, I'm sure, as he'd like to be with that fastball of his. With 1 away, the 3-2 to Brooks. is popped up towards the shortstop. Larry Brown is back on the outfield grass in left, and he drops the ball. He had the glove up right under the ball. It hit the glove, went in the pocket, and then dropped down on the outfield grass. An error charged to Larry Brown on a routine pop-up into shallow left. So Brooks granted a life on the boot by the shortstop. Brooks at first base. One out, and the batter is Andy Etchebarren. Andy at an early season average of 143. He's got Belanger on deck back of him. And the Orioles have Brooks' lead at first base being held by Harrelson. McDowell looks to Brooks' short lead. A curve is high to Andy. McDowell in his stretch with a 1-0. Here's a ground foul headed towards the Oriole dugout on the third base side. And the alert pepper pop to Billy Hunter throws it back to McDowell. 1 ball and 1 strike to Etchebarren. 1 on, 1 down, and no score in the top of the second. Orioles and the Indians will conclude this brief Cleveland stay at 5:30 tomorrow night. 1-1 to Andy. Low outside, a breaking pitch, 2 balls and 1 strike. McDowell and Sandy Koufax, the only pitchers in Major League Baseball history to average 1 or more strikeouts an inning. McDowell peers at Brooks Robinson's lead, now gazing into Fosse's wig-wagging. Straightening up and stretching to the belt. Fastball foul, tipped on Etchebarren's swing, right back into Fosse's big mitt. 2 balls and 2 strikes. McDowell takes a little walk for himself back to the rear slope of the mound. Now right back in the middle of his office. He's going to come 2-2 to Andy, and he does. With a curve and a ground ball to the hole at short. Smothered by Nettles. Throws to second 1. The throw is late to first base, and the Indians do get the force play on Brooks Robinson. A good smothering dive attempt by third baseman Nettles on the ground smash by Etchebarren. After he dove and smothered the ground ball to his glove side, came back up, straightened and threw to Leone to force Brooks Robinson. Etchebarren is the runner at first base with 2 gone. The batter is Belanger. Harrelson's taking at first base, now holding with Etchebarren's lead. McDowell looks to Andy, now throws Belanger. Down the middle for strike 1, belt high. Last season, in that 20 victory year, McDowell led the American League in strikeouts for the 3rd consecutive season. He's got 1 strike to Belanger and throws. Outside, he's come to Belanger now twice with fastballs. 1 ball and 1 strike. Belanger played very shallow in right field by Pinson. Etchebarren, short lead against the tall left-hander McDowell. 1-1 is outside. 2 balls and 1 strike. Cuellar with a heavy jacket is standing on deck. No score, top of the second. Fosse from back of the plate, looking over to Etchebarren, so McDowell doing the same thing. Belanger, 2-1. Hits a line drive right at third baseman Nettles, who goes knee-high to Spirit, and the side is retired. In the Orioles second, no runs, no hits, 1 Indian error, 1 man left at the end of an inning and a half. Baltimore nothing and Cleveland nothing.
Well, Cuellar will be facing Ken Harrelson to start the Indian half of the second inning, and before he does, we'd like to pause briefly for station identification. This is the Baltimore Oriole Baseball Network.
This is Jay Grayson. Want to know what's new? One way to keep up on latest world developments. Here's Joe Walsh. Here on Radio 11 WBAL Baltimore.
Well, Bill mentioned the fact the Orioles will be concluding tomorrow night here in Cleveland with a 5:30 ball game. Then back into Baltimore for what should be a very exciting and interesting weekend series against the New York Yankees. Now, Friday night, the Orioles and the Yankees meet at 8 o'clock at Memorial Stadium. And Saturday night, the Orioles and the Yankees will meet at 7 o'clock. Repeating the start time Saturday night at Memorial Stadium is 7 o'clock. And then Sunday afternoon at 2 in a single game, and it'll be Cat Day, and Bill and I will have more to say about that later on.
Chuck, is the mob man of the Indians, Ken Harrelson, and he beats the ground ball to the left to second base. Good pickup by Belanger. Quick throw is in time, and a fine fielding gem by the shortstop Belanger. Seeing a ground ball off Harrelson's bat right near second base. So Cuellar thanking, I'm sure, Belanger for helping him out on Harrelson. One away, and here is left fielder Roy Foster. Pitch to the right-hand batter is a low, tight curve, ball one. Foster, in his rookie American League season, batted .268 and produced 23 home runs. The next delivery is low to Foster, 2 balls and no strikes. Foster actually came to the Indians at the early part of last season from the Milwaukee Ball Club. 2-0. Is outside. 3 balls and no strikes. He was dealt to the Indians by the Brewers in exchange for Max Alvis and Russ Snyder. 3 balls and no strikes with Leon, the second baseman, on deck. The next Cuellar pitch is strike 1 called and dealt high. With that good rookie season of .268, Roy Foster was named the last year's Major League All-Star Rookie Club. Cuellar in again, 3-1. Here's a line drive out to left field, and that's a Roy Foster base hit. A 1-out line shot single to left as Foster at first, and the batter will be second baseman Eddie Leon. They tell us that since the start of spring training, Leon has come up with kind of a quiet leadership qualities on this Indian ball club, and been put unofficially in a category of somewhat like a team captain. Leon, batting right-handed, closes his stance, stands right at the knees. He hits a foul over the Indian dugout. 1 strike to Leon. One on, 1 gone, and no score in the Indian half of the second inning. Cuellar's 1 strike offering is fouled away to the right again. No balls and 2 strikes. Eddie Uhas, the Indians' public relations director, said that many of the Indians feel that Leon right now is in at least the fielding class of a Dave Johnson. Leon's in a 2-strike hole against Cuellar with 1 gone and 1 aboard. Foster leading and stays. Here's a foul back of the plate. Still 0-2. The Oriole outfield, which has Redden on left, Blair center, Frank Robinson in right, is spread to Leon. Foul holes, and here's Foster now edging his lead at first base. Cuellar coming with a 2-strike offering again. Here's another foul over the Indian dugout. Cuellar put that breaking ball of his to the outside corner of the plate and under the knees. And Leon, trying to protect the outside corner, took a half cut and fouled it away. Buddy Bradford, the 8th man in Al Dark's order, is on deck. And then back to McDowell in the dugout. 2-strike Cuellar pitch again. Here it is. Slow curve. It's a little bit high. That was a tantalizing off-speed breaking ball by Cuellar. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Leon gives Bobby Hoffman's signs out of the third base coaching box a good long look. Foster extends his lead. Pretty good lead against left-hander Cuellar. Mike gazing to first base. Comes to the plate. Foster's running. The pitch is cut on a miss. Etchebarren throws high to second, and not in time. Foster slides in with a steal as Etchebarren's toss to Belanger was above the head. Belanger had to leap up, bring it down, but came down with a late tag against the sliding Foster. Leon, meanwhile, strikes out for out number 2, and it is Cuellar's first strikeout. Foster at second on the 2-out steal, and now the center fielder, Buddy Bradford. Bradford, like Leon, swings from the right side. The look back to second, Cuellar coming in. He's outside to Bradford, ball 1. First base is open. The Indians have Foster posted at second base with 2 gone. The probables for tomorrow night's game, Palmer against the Indians, Foster. 1-0 delivery, way outside and high, 2 balls and no strikes. Cuellar set to rip in with a 2-0. He does to Bradford, who hits a ground ball to short. Back deep, Belanger's got to make a long throw. He guns it in time to Powell, and they team up to retire Bradford for the 3rd out in the bottom of the 2nd. No runs, an Indian hit, 1 left, Foster at second. At the end of 2 complete. Orioles nothing, the Indians nothing.
While the Orioles were rained out yesterday here in Cleveland, elsewhere in the American League, the Red Sox beat the Senators 5-3 yesterday. The Yankees won their game over Detroit 5-2. Oakland with Vida Blue pitching his 2nd consecutive shutout, flanked Milwaukee 2-0. California 3-1 over the White Sox, and Kansas City beat the Minnesota Twins by a score of 5-3. Houston 8-4 over the Cardinals. Montreal 4-1 over the Mets. These are yesterday's scores, and Pittsburgh 9-2 over the Philadelphia Phillies. Cincinnati 5-4 over Atlanta. And Chicago 3-2 over the Los Angeles Dodgers, and San Diego and San Francisco were postponed last night.
Top of the 3rd inning, Chuck. Mike Cuellar starts it off, and McDowell throws him right down the middle. Strike 1. Cuellar, Rettenmund, Dave Johnson. No score. Top of the 3rd. A breaking ball downstairs and outside. Ball 1 and strike 1 to Cuellar. Both clubs with a base hit apiece. The Oriole blow, a 1-out double to left by Johnson in the very 1st inning. Cuellar to McDowell's 1-1. Cuts and foul tips it right into Fosse's glove. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Rettenmund on deck. Johnson back in the dugout. McDowell, okay. Signs from Fosse. 1-2. Swing and a miss. Cuellar fans on a McDowell fastball. That is Sudden Sam's first strikeout. And the first out in the top of the 3rd. Now to Rettenmund. Merv on a check swing, tapped out. McDowell in from the right side of the mound to first baseman Harrelson. Rettenmund began this ball game with the early season batting mark of .250. He'd be followed by Johnson. Big McDowell working with 1 away. Delivers a curve and a good strike. Knee high. That bent right into the inside corner. 1 strike to Merv. McDowell just fidgeting now with the crown of his cap. As he started to wind, Rettenmund suddenly stepped out of the batter's box, and just as alertly, plate umpire Odom called time and stopped McDowell's motion. Rettenmund out of a slightly closed stance on the 0-1. He's curved in the dirt and inside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Rettenmund trying to start something right here in the top of the 3rd, trying to get on against tough McDowell. Sam to Merv, 1-1, and here it is. Swing and a miss, and that was one of those hummers from McDowell. I guess Tiger catcher Jimmy Price said something pretty apropos about this Sam McDowell. He says he has a 150-mile-per-hour fastball, a 140-mile-per-hour curve, and a 130-mile-an-hour changeup. Rettenmund on McDowell's 1-2. High curve, 2 balls and 2 strikes. McDowell has walked 1, fanned 1, and given up the Johnson base hit. Here we go now, 2-2 to Rettenmund from McDowell. Low fastball, and that was really ripped in. 3 balls and 2 strikes. I don't know how it looks at home plate with Rettenmund, but up here, just to the left of home plate, that McDowell fastball is just a blur. The money pitch to Rettenmund with 1 away. Ball 4. So Rettenmund fights off McDowell with fastballs and breaking pitches and draws a 1-out ticket. That is the second McDowell walk. Orioles have had a base runner now every inning. They had 2 on in the first inning. They had 1 on last inning, and now 1 on with 1 gone here in the top of the third. And the Birds produce Dave Johnson, who had the 1-out 2-bagger right on the left field foul line in the first inning. Harrelson is at first base, where Rettenmund leads against the southpaw McDowell. Tight, high fastball to Dave Johnson. Ball 1. McDowell, stepping to the rear slope of the mound, has more wins than losses over all American League ball clubs with 2 exceptions. Only our club, the Birds plus the Angels, have beaten McDowell more than he's beaten them. A quick toss to first base, and Merv is back on top of the bag safely. 1 ball and no strikes. Here's the count to Johnson. McDowell keeps making contact with the rubber and then breaking contact as he looks to Rettenmund. Now he works to Johnson. They pitch out. Rettenmund was not going. 2 balls and no strikes to Dave. Powell is on deck. Fosse from back of the plate, just as Johnson from the batter's box, has also been looking over to third base coach Hunter's side. Rettenmund 1 away. Short lead at first base. Gets off as much as he can. The 2-0 is on the outside edge. He kept it right at Johnson's knees. 2 balls and 1 strike. The Indians and the Orioles here today making the earliest start of any of the other Major League ball clubs. 2-1 from Sam McDowell. Rettenmund going. A line drive on 1 hop back at second. Fielded by the shortstop. He steps on second and then misses second as he comes across the bag and throws to first base to retire Johnson. The shortstop Brown went over the bag as he fielded the ground ball. Tried to step back but couldn't tag it against Rettenmund. Did throw out Johnson over to Harrelson for the second out, and Rettenmund has advanced from first to second. Rettenmund was running as Johnson was swinging, and he lined the pitch 1 hop back at second into Brown's glove. Rettenmund with 2 gone off second. The batter is Boog Powell, who worked on McDowell for a first inning walk. The right side, right back to the outfield grass with Leone and Harrelson. McDowell looking back to Rettenmund's lead at second base. A fastball hit high and deep to right field. Pinson is back to the fence. Along with the center fielder, it's over the fence for a Powell home run. McDowell with a letter-high fastball to Powell, and Powell loses it about 375 feet away over the right field area. It is Powell's second home run, his 6th and 7th RBIs of 1971, and a 2-0 Oriole lead in the top of the third. McDowell just challenged and tried to overpower Powell, but was unsuccessful. Powell has cleaned the bases with Rettenmund scoring ahead of him. A 2-0 Oriole lead. The batter is Frank Robinson. Frank grounded into a first inning double play. 2 runs home. 2 gone, nobody on. A curve falls in for strike 1 call. McDowell winding and throwing 0-1. Breaks it inside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Two nothing the Orioles after a scoreless first 2 innings. Frank to Sudden Sands. 1-1 pitch. It's outside. 2 balls and 1 strike. Blair waving a bat on deck. Here's a 2-1 coming in. It is popped up towards the shortstop. Larry Brown is on the skin of the infield and pockets it for the 3rd out. In the Orioles 3rd, 2 runs on Powell's second.
Running to the office, running to the store, running till you think you'll drop it.
Some of you have already purchased your tickets for the forthcoming series between the Orioles and the Yankees, beginning at Memorial Stadium Friday night at 8 o'clock. Continuing Saturday night at 7, Sunday afternoon at 2, it'll be Cap Day, and that means that all youngsters 14 and under, accompanied by a paying adult, will Sunday afternoon receive a souvenir Oriole baseball cap. And what a great year to start, a great way to start another baseball year with a souvenir Oriole cap. Well, here is Sam McDowell in there to hit for the Indians. We'll get right back to Bill O'Donnell.
All right, Chuck, and we go now with the Indians and McDowell in the bottom of the 3rd against Cuellar. Way outside, ball 1 to McDowell. He'll be followed by Brown and Nettles. 2-0 is the Oriole lead on Powell's top of the 3rd inning 2-run homer. McDowell making his first batting appearance against Cuellar today. Mike to Sam, 1-0. Here's a high foul ball headed for the Indian dugout. Powell to the dugout, Etchebarren to the dugout, and back it goes in the seats. 1 ball and 1 strike. We're talking about Oriole highlights in the first week of 1971's American League season. As you look at the other American League clubs, the Twins have had a highlight with their young pitcher, Bert Blyleven. He's pitched shutouts against the Brewers in Kansas City. Speaking of those Brewers, they've also had a pretty quick start. 1-1 now. A curve bunted at and missed by McDowell. He tried to push that bunt out toward 3rd, but a neat Cuellar curve fooled McDowell completely. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Cuellar flapping with that left arm as he looks through to Andy. He throws 1 and 2. A curve cut at and missed, and McDowell loses his bat as it goes right out between the 3rd base foul line and the pitcher's mound. McDowell is Cuellar's 2nd strikeout victim. Out number 1 in the Indian 3rd. Leadoff batter Larry Brown. He flied to right fielder Frank Robinson in the 1st inning. One gone, faces clean. Bottom of the Indian 3rd. Fastball popped up towards the Indian dugout. Etchebarren off with the mask, right outside the dugout. Etchebarren makes out number 2. Larry Brown fouls to Andy. So Cuellar has retired McDowell, striking out. Gets Larry Brown on a foul pop-up to Etchebarren outside the Indians' first base dugout. Here's the 3rd baseman, left-hand batting Greg Nettles, who walked against Cuellar in the 1st inning. Powell backs up at first against the left-hand swings of Nettles, and the outfield shades to right. The wind-up in Cuellar's pitch is a curve low for ball 1. Nettles had a notion to go for it and then stopped his swing. 1 ball, no strikes. Redmond in left is playing Nettles to punch directly to left field. The 1-0 delivery, high and tight, 2 balls, no strikes. Nettles the batter with Pinson kneeling on deck. Cuellar coming into the plate with his 2-0. Swing and a Nettles miss. 2 balls, 1 strike. Greg Nettles, a Californian, born in San Diego, California, now resides not too far from Cleveland in Medina, Ohio. The 2-1 to Nettles with 2 away. Low inside. 3 balls and 1 strike. He came to the Indians in a deal involving ex-Twins Dean Chance, Ted Eulander, and Bob Miller. 3-1 to Nettles for Mike. Swing and a miss, so they go 3 balls and 2 strikes. Nettles has only been an organized ball since 1966. He had his first full major league season in 1969 with the Twins. The pay battle at 3-2. Here's a ground tapper down the first base side. Cuellar fields it along the foul line and tags out Nettles right along the foul line, about 20 feet away from first base. Nettles out, unassisted to Cuellar, who has a 1-2-3, bottom of the third. At the end of 3 complete, Orioles 2, the Indians nothing. The top of the 4th inning against McDowell. The Orioles have Blair, Brooks Robinson, and Andy Etchebarren. Blair flying to center field to begin the top of the 2nd, and now Blair starts the top of the 4th inning. 2-0, that's the Oriole lead against McDowell. Curve, fouled right in the batter's box. Strike 1. Surprisingly enough, as Blair is, of course, switch hitting in 1971, all of Blair's hits have so far come left-handed. He is 0 for 5, batting right-handed. McDowell to work again. 0-1. Outside corner as he changed up and got the strike to Blair. 0-2. McDowell has buzzed ahead of Blair. No balls and 2 strikes. Here he comes to the plate with a curve, a hard curve inside, and Blair has to go right out of the batter's box on his heels. That was the hard McDowell curve. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Blair awaiting the next McDowell offering. Here it comes. Ground ball back at third. Nettles fields it, throws to first in time to retire Blair. 1 gone in the top of the 4th inning. Brooks Robinson is the next Oriole batter. When Brooks swung away in the 2nd inning, he sent a routine pop-up to the shortstop Brown, who was under it on the outfield grass in shallow left. Brown got it in the glove and then dropped it for an error. Brooks to be followed by Etchebarren. We're in the top of the 4th inning. McDowell winds, and he works to Brooks. Outside, ball 1. McDowell's next delivery. A curve, and it settles in for a strike at the knees. 1 ball, 1 strike. He took a little bit something off that breaking ball to Brooks Robinson to go 1 ball and 1 strike. Here's the next pitch. It's hit high in the air to left field. Foster coming in about 4 paces. Makes out number 2. Brooks got on a fly ball to left. 2 away, top of the 4th inning. And now Andy Etchebarren's 2nd turn of the day. Andy in the 2nd inning bounced into a forced play. 3rd baseman Nettles to Leon to cut out Brooks Robinson. Base is empty. 2 away in the top of the 4th inning. McDowell plateward. Go outside. Ball 1. Belanger will be the next batter if Andy gets on here in the top of the 4th inning. Etchebarren out of that square stance, a little bit towards the front part of the box. The 1-0 coming in. A curve, hits down the right field side, turning and twisting foul to the seat, and way beyond the reach of first baseman Harrelson. And on this early afternoon here in Cleveland, a youngster back a couple of rows in that box seat area reached up and he made a one-handed grab. 1 ball, 1 strike. McDowell to Andy, 1-1, way outside. Again, he has trouble finding the play with that fastball of his. 2 balls and 1 strike. McDowell's 2-1 deal. high. 3 balls and 1 strike. McDowell walked Powell in the first inning. He passed Rettenmund in the third. A little bit before Powell took a McDowell fastball for a home run over the fence and right. McDowell now requesting and receiving an exchange of baseballs from plate umpire Odom. Etchebarren hoping, as he's ahead 3 balls and 1 strike. Andy hoping now he can get the pitch he likes, 3-1. It's outside. He doesn't offer, ball 4. 3 walks now from McDowell, and the next batter will be Mark Belanger. Belanger lined a shot right at third baseman Nettles for the 3rd out of the 2nd inning. Nettles, incidentally, plays well off the third base foul line and back about halfway against Mark. Harrelson to first base against Etchebarren's lead. McDowell, a little bit of trouble suddenly getting some signs from Fosse. Now they're both set. The pitch to Belanger. High. Ball 1. McDowell continuing this early inning pattern of getting fastballs high and almost sailing away from Fosse's long stretch. 1 ball, no strikes to Belanger. With 2 away, Etchebarren edges his lead at first base, and McDowell looks to Andy's lead. Now the 1-0, Andy is running. Pitches in for strike call. Throw to second to the shortstop Brown. He makes the tag, and it's in time against the sliding Etchebarren to retire the side. At the end of 3.5 innings of play, the Orioles 2, the Indians nothing.
Well, right now we'd like to pause very briefly for a station break. This is the Baltimore Oriole Baseball Network.
This is Ted Steele telling you that Bob Jones makes the evenings more pleasant. Hear Jovial Jones regularly on Radio 11 WBAL in Baltimore.
Well, we mentioned the Orioles coming back home after tomorrow night's game against Cleveland for the Yankees Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday afternoon. And this will be your last look at the Orioles for a good little spell. Early in the year, we're going to wing west. After the Yankee series concludes with that single game Sunday afternoon, the Orioles will have an off day Monday and then leave for Detroit and be in Detroit Tuesday and Wednesday of next week and then continue on through the following weekend in Anaheim against the Angels and then 4 days in Oakland and then into Kansas City before they return home May the 4th to entertain the California Angels.
The Indians, 4th inning, with Veda, Edward, Pinson Jr., Pinson, Fosse, and Harrelson against Cuellar. Cuellar sends a high curve into Pinson, ball 1. Pinson fly to center fielder Blair for out number 3 in the 1st inning. He's played into right field by the Oriole outfield. Cuellar works 1-0 to Pinson. A curve, line, foul back at first base. 1 ball and 1 strike. Pinson, like Frank Robinson, both went to the same high school out in Oakland, California. And ironically enough, some years later, they wound up as teammates in the early 60s with the Cincinnati Reds. One from Cuellar to Veda Pinson. A curve, a little low. 2 balls and 1 strike. Cuellar winds and his 2-1 pitch. Is lined to center field. Blair breaking back, falls there, and there's out number 1 in the bottom of the 4th inning. Twice now, Pinson has sent either fly balls or line drives out to center field to Blair. 1 away, and here's Fosse, who bounced into a fielder's choice in the 1st inning. Fosse goes right back deep to the box. Well-built Indian right-hand batting catcher. Slow curve, grounded wide to third. It's in Brooks's glove. Brooks to Powell, retiring Fosse, and out number 2. Cuellar, since the base hit by Foster in the 2nd inning, has retired everybody in order. So that means 3, 5, 7 in a row. Here's Harrelson, who was robbed of a base hit back at second base. by shortstop Belanger in the second inning. The Hawk at the plate with 2 away. Cuellar's pitch is a strike. It's a screwball on the outside corner. Harrelson has sat out practically all of 1970, unfortunately, with that broken leg. Suffered during spring training a year ago. 1 strike pitch is a ground ball to Belanger's club side. He digs it out again. Throws to Powell, and it's out number 3. Harrelson bouncing out short to first, so at the end of 4, the Orioles 2 and the Indians nothing.
The 2-2 to May. Swing ground ball third base side. Brooks Robinson's got it throwing from foul ground toward first base. It is in time. What a play by Brooks. This is Chuck Thompson telling you that you can get a head start on everything in the majors today, but already one scheduled National League encounter has been postponed. New York and Montreal were postponed due to wet ground today. Later this afternoon, Houston will be in San Francisco, and the rest of the slate will be after dark in the National League. Okay, Bill.
Well, number 7 begins the top of the 5th inning. That means Mark Belanger plus Cuellar and Rettenmund. 2-0 is the Oriole lead on Powell's 3rd inning home run. Here's a foul ball back this way to the upper deck. Strike 1 to Belanger. Mark has quite an appropriate license plate on the back of his car. Of course, he's out of the state of Massachusetts. And his Massachusetts license plate says Bird, B-I-R-D-S. 1 strike to Belanger. Outside, Chuck.
Bill, the great comic Flip Wilson from Cleveland and drives a very expensive automobile. His California license plate is Killer, K-I-L-L-E-R.
All right.
Geraldine Sportsman.
The 1-1 pitch coming to Belanger is high. The fastball doesn't get the plate. 2 balls and 1 strike. Belanger was up with Etchebarren at first and 2 away in the 4th inning, and he was running and trying to steal and was tossed out after walking, so Belanger is beginning the top of the 5th instead. 2-1 to the blade. McDowell works. Pop up to the infield on the right side. Harrelson backing up. Leon backing up. Leon to the outfield grass makes the put out. Belanger skies to the second baseman for out number 1. Now to Mike Cuellar. McDowell struck him out in the 3rd inning. McDowell has given up 2 base hits. Johnson's double. Boog's 2-run homer. He has walked 3. Cuellar, and then we'll have Rettenmund against McDowell here in the top of the 5th. Speaking of strikeouts, more than 70 times in his career, McDowell has struck out 10 or more batters a ball game. Fastball whacked high and deep and foul, and is it going to go over the roof? It is on the roof. So a long, loud, high strike off Cuellar's bat. One away, nobody aboard. McDowell coming in. Fastball is inside. It drives Cuellar clear out of the batter's box. 1 ball, 1 strike. 5:30 tomorrow afternoon. Jim Palmer against Alan Foster. Sam to Mike, 1-1. A curve grounded to the right of the mound. Charging second baseman Leon. Picks it up, throws to Harrelson in time, and Cuellar grounds out. Leon to the first baseman. 2 away against McDowell and the Indians in the top of the 5th inning. Here's the leadoff man, Rettenmund. Merv has been out on a ground ball to the mound. He walked in the 3rd, and Merv was aboard with Powell's home run. Foster backs up into left field against Rettenmund and nettles quite a few strides inside the line of 3rd. Low fastball comes coming in, ball 1. It's 1 ball, no strikes to Rettenmund. Started the day batting at .250. Pitch on the way from McDowell to Merv. Strike at the knees. 1 ball, 1 strike. McDowell set to get busy again. Lines and throws, 1-1. High curve. 2 balls and 1 strike. The Indians, 220 pounds, 6'6" left-hander Sam McDowell, 2-1. In the dirt, 3 balls and 1 strike. McDowell now has called out to Ray Fosse for some bit of conversation. It's hard to believe that a fellow with all the equipment that a Sam McDowell has, also hard to believe since he is 28 years of age, and despite all the success he has had through his American League career, that some people still figure that Sam McDowell still can become a better pitcher. Fosse now back and behind the plate. 3-1. It's strike 2 called. He let up on that pitch. 3 balls and 2 strikes. McDowell gazing quickly to his outfield. Now he peers into Fosse. 3-2 to Rettenmund. A ground foul that hit in the batter's box and then hit up off the arm of Rettenmund and then came into fair territory. So it's still 3 balls and 2 strikes. The Orioles are starting off 1971 with a big bang, 4 wins in their first 5 starts. McDowell against Rettenmund in their 3-ball, 2-strike battle again. 2 gone, bases empty. Here's the pitch to Merv. A ground ball to the right of second base. Leon gets over it, loves it, throws in time to retire Rettenmund, and it's a 1-2-3 top of the 5th. At the end of 4.5 innings of play, Baltimore 2 and Cleveland nothing. Well, the Orioles go back home after the 5:30 game against the Indians here tomorrow night, and they go home against the Yankees 8 o'clock Friday, 7 o'clock Saturday, 2 o'clock on Sunday. And the Yankees have had some good early season pitching out of Stottlemyre and Klein. They both pitched shutouts for the Yankees. We'll see the Yankees, Stottlemyre, Klein, and all the rest of that cast starting Friday night at 8. Now the bottom of the 5th inning. Here is Chuck Thompson.
With Ray Foster, first ball hitting, fly ball left field way. Rettenmund is tracking it nicely and makes the catch to retire Foster for the first out in the bottom of the 5th inning. Here now is Eddie Leon. He struck out against Cuellar in the 2nd inning. Since Foster had a 1-out single to left field back in the 2nd inning, Cuellar has now retired 9 in a row since that base hit. Cuellar's pitch, strike called by Oldham, the plate umpire. Sun is shining brightly here in this lakefront stadium, but it's a raw, cold Wednesday afternoon. Cuellar's 1-strike offering, ground ball hit toward second baseman Johnson, took a bad hop, he gloved it up around the chest, fired over to first base in time to get Eddie Leon, and we now have 2 down. And 10 in a row have been retired by Cuellar since the 2nd inning single off the bat of Foster. Now the Indian center fielder Buddy Bradford. Bradford went out in a ground ball to shortstop Belanger in the 2nd inning. Alan Foster, who came over to the Indians from the Dodgers in exchange for Duke Sims, is scheduled to pitch tomorrow night against the Orioles' Jim Palmer. Pitch to the right-hand swinger, high fly ball, deep left field. Rettenmund racing back near the fence, still moving. Rettenmund is there, and he made the catch of a rather difficult fly ball. 3 up and 3 down, and at the end of 5, it's still Baltimore 2, Cleveland nothing. Well, here is Dave Johnson with a swing and a miss, strike 1. Dave, who doubled down the left field line in the 1st inning and then went out in the ground ball to shortstop Larry Brown in the 3rd, and facing the sudden one for the 3rd time this afternoon. McDowell fires a breaking ball that's in the dirt to even the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. Bill told you that this young man got off to just a great start. 6 for 14 and 7 ribbies in the first 4 Oriole games. Now the 1-1 offering to Dave Johnson. McDowell leans on the fastball, but as most of them have been doing this afternoon, they've been sailing. And he is high and outside to make the count 2 balls and 1 strike. McDowell's 2-1 to Dave Johnson. Strike at the outside portion of the knees. 2 balls, 2 strikes. That time he got the fastball into Johnson. Bill mentioned that there are many people who believe that Sam McDowell, with all of his great natural equipment, can still be a better pitcher. The 2-2. High, ball 3. Full count to Dave Johnson. And when you hear of the great prowess of this man and all of his tremendous strikeouts, his many shutouts, you kind of, just find it hard to believe that last year was the first time in his great career that he won 20 games. Now the 3-2 offering to Dave Johnson. McDowell delivers. Ground line drive right at the shortstop. Caught by Larry Brown for the first out of the inning. Johnson gone on the line drive to the shortstop, Larry Brown. Well, here's the big fella, Boog Powell, who walked in the first inning. And then, as they say, he came out of the dugout swinging because on the first pitch from McDowell in the third inning with Rettenmund at first base, Mr. Powell derricked his second home run way over the right center field screen to give the Orioles their 2-0 lead. So he was ready on the very first pitch from Sam McDowell. Curveball is high and inside to Boog Powell. Ball 1. Second baseman Eddie Leone is back on the outfield grass about 3 or 4 steps. The shortstop Larry Brown cut well around toward the bag at second. McDowell rocks over the rubber, and the big left-hander's 1-0 pitch, breaking ball. Strike is called. Powell started and held back in the swing. 1 ball and 1 strike. This 12 o'clock start in Cleveland is what the Indians refer to as a businessman special. However, the terrible weather here on the lakefront just ruined it for them. Now the 1-1 offering, another curve. It's high inside, and the count is 2-1 to Powell. The idea being that a businessman could get in a half a day's work, and then when he goes out for lunch, rather than go to where he normally goes, he might come to the ballpark. Well, they'll have to wait for better weather and try it again. The 2-1 pitch to Powell. Sidearm breaking ball. He started, held back in the swing, and the strike is called. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Powell. That's one of the few times we've seen Sudden Sam come down sidearm to the left hand swinging of Boog Powell. And the 2-2 to Boog. McDowell sidearms him again. A breaking pitch is swung on and missed, and that'll be it for Boog, as McDowell has notched his second strikeout of the ball game. 2 down, and the batter is Frank Robinson. Hit into a double play in the first inning and popped to the shortstop in the third. Well, the Birds 2 runs and 2 hits, and the Indians no runs, 1 hit as we move through the top half of the 6th inning. 2 down and nobody on, and McDowell is ready to work on Frank. The left-hander's first one. Ground ball sharply hit by the diving third baseman. It's out into left field for a base knock. So Frank Robinson singles in the hole between short and third to left field. And the O's have a 2-out single from Frank, and that'll bring in Paul Blair. This outstanding defensive center fielder, Paul Blair, against McDowell this afternoon, has flied to the center fielder, Buddy Bradford, and then hit a shot to third baseman Greg Nettles and was thrown out. So Hawk Harrelson moves in to take the bag with a base runner, Frank Robinson, at first. McDowell sets, kicks, throws, inside, ball 1. The weather is the way it is here at, 1:30, approaching 1:30 in the afternoon. I'm very glad they decided to play at noon. I would not want to be here, let's say, at 8 o'clock tonight. Bounds, it'll be cold. Now the 1-0 pitch to Paul Blair. Frank with a good lead against the left-handed offerings of McDowell. The pitch to Blair. Curve is in the dirt, bounces away from Fosse, goes back toward the screen. Frank Robinson is down to second base, and he will hold right there. And the official scorer has ruled a wild pitch against Sam McDowell, allowing Frank second base and making the count 2 balls, no strikes to Paul Blair. As Bill mentioned, the only scoring in the ball game, a booming Powell home run with Rettenmund aboard in the third inning, accounting for the O's 2-0 lead. Well, we're hopeful of some fine weather when we get back home to Baltimore for the Yankee series Friday night, Saturday night at 7 o'clock. Don't forget that starting time Saturday. And 2 o'clock Sunday afternoon. The 2-0 to Paul Blair. McDowell throw. Swing and a miss. 2-1. Paul checking with the plate umpire Odom to determine whether or not he was swinging at a bad ball. In other words, had he been taking, would it have been a strike? And I think he got an affirmative from Odom. 2-1 to count to Paul. Frank Robinson at second base, 2 out. And the 2-1 pitch to Blair. Line drive, fair ball down the left field line going into the Oriole bullpen. Frank Robinson will score without any difficulty, and it's in the bullpen dugout, which means it's an automatic ground rule double. So Blair has doubled down the left field line, scoring Frank Robinson with run number 3 for the Orioles. And that'll be Paul Blair's first hit as a right-handed batter. A double by Blair. And the Orioles have a 3-0 lead over McDowell and the Indians. And here now is Brooks Robinson. He reached on an error, charged to shortstop Larry Brown in the second, and fly to the left fielder Foster in the fourth. Blair at second with 2 away, and McDowell is ready to go. The big lefty fires, curved him high, ball 1. Fosse hangs out the target for Sam McDowell. The 1-0 to Brooks. Swing and a foul ball right at the plate. The count is a ball and a strike. Our audio specialist, Mr. Ken Kimball, who is a native of this beautiful town of Cleveland, just asked Bill O'Donnell when he went down to the concession stand if he'd bring him back a cup of steam. 1 ball and 1 strike to the batter, Brooks Robinson. Blair at second and 2 down. McDowell is ready to go. Here it is. Look out high and tight. Brooks has to bail out. 2 balls and a strike. Alan Foster for the Cleveland Indians tomorrow evening, 5:30 game, and Jim Palmer for the Orioles. The 2-1 offering to Brooks Robinson. McDowell throws curved foul ball by the screen back of the plate, and the count now is 2 balls and 2 strikes. It's kind of difficult to estimate crowds in a ballpark as big as this one, but I'll say one thing, those who are here are the hardiest of baseball fans. Now the 2-2 offering to Brooks Robinson. McDowell delivers, high fly ball hit towards center fielder Buddy Bradford. He's tracking it okay. Bradford moving up now, makes the catch, and that's the final out of the inning, but the Orioles grab another run on 2 hits and leave a runner at the end of 5.5. Baltimore 3, Cleveland 0.
Well, thanks to 2 very fine gentlemen back in Baltimore, Dick Patterson and Don Blum of the Oriole Advocates. We were happy to have in our booth Sunday afternoon a member of the 1971 Junior Orioles, a young man from the Perry Hall section of Baltimore by the name of Francis Crowdy. And you can become a member of the 1971 Junior Orioles like Francis Crowdy by simply sending $1.75 along with your name and your address to Junior Orioles, Box 4676, Baltimore, Maryland. Box 4676, Baltimore, Maryland. And among many other things, for $1.75, you are able to attend, free of charge, 9 Oriole games during 1971. And the first Junior Oriole Day will be Sunday, the 23rd of May, with the Birds taking on the Boston Red Sox at the stadium. Okay, Chuck.
Here's pinch hitter Ted Ford with a ground ball hit right to Boog Powell, the first baseman, and he goes for the bag to complete the unassisted putout. So Ford, as a pinch hitter for Sam McDowell, first ball hitting, ground to first baseman Powell, and we have 1 away in the 6th inning, and now 12 in a row have been retired. Vince Colbert is throwing in the Cleveland Indian bullpen. 1 gone in the Indian half of the 6th inning. On the top of the batting order, Larry Brown. In Saturday afternoon's game against the Red Sox, Larry had quite a ball game. He knocked in 5 runs. Cuellar's pitch is too high, ball 1. Well, we had a chance to speak very briefly with a couple of Baltimore baseball fans who are vacationing out this way and came by to see the Orioles today. The 1-0 pitch to Brown. Strike is called, 1-1. I'm referring to Mr. and Mrs. Edwin Francis of Baltimore. And that little note says, hey, what kind of weather for Baltimore fans? Well, it is a little on the chilly side in Cleveland. 1 ball, 1 strike to Larry Brown. Cuellar ready to work. And the left-hander's 1-1. High, ball 2. 2-1 now. 2-1 offering. Line foul down the third base side into the seats, and out is play. And the count 2-2 to Larry. Cuellar in the move, and the 2-2 offering to Larry Brown. Fly ball, well hit left field. Rettenmund is tracking it, waiting now. Rettenmund makes the catch, and that's the second out of the inning. Cuellar has now retired 13 in a row since Foster's second inning single. Here now is the very fine Cleveland third baseman Greg Nettles. It is G-R-A-I-G, Greg, not Craig. He's walked and gone out unassisted to the pitcher, Cuellar, in the third inning. The left-handed pitch to the left-handed swinger is high and tight, ball one. Nettles hit a little bit of a tapper down the first base side, and Cuellar raced over, made the pickup on the tag of Nettles going by. Now the 1-0 pitch to Nettles. Curved him, swing and a miss, and Mr. Nettles let it all go. He had a good rip at that fine breaking pitch from Mike Cuellar. A ball and a strike to Nettles. The 1-1 offering, another curve hit in the dirt toward first baseman Powell. It's in the glove. Powell is going to the bag. The unassisted put out to Boog. And that'll be it for the Indians in the sixth inning. They are 3 up and 3 down at the end of 6 complete. Baltimore 3, Cleveland nothing.
Well, a young man from Washington, D.C., Vince Colbert, who attended Eastern High School in Washington, D.C., is the new Cleveland pitcher in the top of the 7th inning. He replaces starter Sam McDowell. McDowell listed for the pinch hitter Ford in the bottom of the 6th inning. Through 6 innings, gave up 3 runs, 4 hits, struck out 2, and he walked 3. Colbert making his third relief appearance of 1971. He already has an Indian victory without a defeat. Before Colbert pitches to Etchebarren, Belanger, and Cuellar in the top of the 7th, we'd like to pause for station identification. This is the Baltimore Orioles Baseball Network.
John Stedman speaking, advising you to follow Ken Jackson's newscast if you want to know what's happening on Radio 11 WBAL in Baltimore.
To check up a bit on Vincent Norman, Vince Colbert, who pitched with both the Wichita Club and the Indian Ball Club here a year ago. At Wichita, he won 8, lost 3. With the Indians in 23 appearances, he won 1 and he lost 1. Okay, Chuck.
Well, Andy Etchebarren will lead off against the big right-handed Vince Colbert. Etchebarren has reached on a force and walk against Sam McDowell, who is now out of the ball game, pitching 6 innings, allowing 4 Oriole hits, 3 walks, 2 strikeouts, and 3 runs. The right-hander throws a good breaking ball over the outside corner, and a strike is called to Etchebarren. Grant Jackson and Jim Harden are beginning to throw in the Oriole bullpen now. Here is the 1-strike offering. Strike 2 called. Good fastball that was over the outer portion right around the knees to Etchebarren. Those of you who recall a fine Detroit and Boston right-hander by the name of Earl Wilson, if you remember how he threw, well, this is Colbert is quite similar. Outside high with the ball. His motion is very much like that of Earl Wilson. Now the 1-2 offering to Andy Etchebarren. The 6'3" right-hander brings the arm down. Here's his pitch. Outside, and it'll be 2-2 now. To the best of my knowledge, Colbert is a fastball, curveball, slider ball. Nothing unusual like the fork ball, palm ball, etc. And the 2-2 pitch coming to Etchebarren. Good breaking ball, and a strike 3 is called. Etchebarren is called out and strikes. 1 away for the Orioles in their half of the 7th inning, and now here comes Mark Belanger, who is 0 for 2 at the plate, but has contributed some very fine defensive plays to the good pitching effort of Mike Cuellar. The right-handed Colbert steps and throws. Strike is called. This youngster is full of strikes. And the 1-strike pitch, high and away to Mark Belanger. 1 ball, 1 strike. Hope that you'll be in to see one or perhaps more of the Oriole-Yankee games this weekend. The 1-1 is low and outside to Belanger. It'll be the last look at the Orioles until May the 4th. Birds will be gone until that time. Now the 2-1 offering to Belanger just off the corner. 3 balls, 1 strike. We are in the top of the 7th inning. That's right. Our ball game in Cleveland started at 12 o'clock noon. 3-1 to the waiting Belanger. Foul ball down the right field side is going to be out of play. So we'll fill the count 3-2. Colbert's 3-2 pitch to Belanger. He walked him. Ball 4 is high and outside. So Colbert starts with a strikeout, follows it with a walk. 1 away, runner at first, Belanger. Into the plate now comes Mike Cuellar. Against lefty Sam McDowell, he struck out in the 3rd and went out on a ground ball to second baseman Eddie Leone in the 5th. Well, Nettles shortens up considerably down the third base side. The Indians figure that pitcher Cuellar and the Orioles will be playing the bunting game. Well, we'll know in a moment. The lead by Belanger at first, the pitch coming to Cuellar. He swings and the ground ball is sharply hit by the diving second baseman out of the right field. Belanger is going to try to go to third. Here is Beta Pinson's throw to third base slide. He is safe. Oh, Belanger with a good break on the pitch, and Pinson charging that base hit in the right field. And Belanger's good speed beat the throw from Beta Pinson at third base, and a single by Cuellar by the diving second baseman and into right field. And the Orioles had a little something going against reliever Vince Colbert. Belanger at third, Cuellar at first, 1 out in the inning. In the top of the batting order, Merv Rettenmund. Merv was out pitcher to first in the first inning, walked in the 3rd, and grounded to second base in the 5th inning. And now Vince Colbert has gone to his mouth while on the mound and has been charged with ball 1. So the count to Rettenmund before a pitch has been thrown is ball 1. The first pitch coming to Merv Rettenmund. Swing and a miss, and that evens the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. Now the 1-1 offering to Merv Rettenmund. Runners on the corners. He bunts, but it's foul behind the plate, and the count now is 1-2. Rettenmund bunted foul. Belanger was not coming. He was holding up at third base until Rettenmund made contact, and then had not committed himself. So depending on where the bunt had gone, Belanger could have been holding or coming. Now the 1-2 offering to Merv Rettenmund. Colbert is ready to go. The Cleveland right-hander throws. Foul ball, out of play, behind the plate. And the count continues at 1 ball, 2 strikes to Merv Rettenmund. Grant Jackson and Jim Harden are throwing in the Oriole bullpen. The 1-2 to Rettenmund. Strike 3 is called. Rettenmund is called out on strike. 2 out of the inning, and that drops matters squarely in the capable hands of Dave Johnson. Dave doubled in the first, rolled to short, and then lined to short. Fosse has gone to the mound to have a brief word to say to his battery mate, Vince Colbert. Belanger third, Cuellar first. 2 away now here on the top of the 7th inning. The Orioles leading Cleveland 3-0. And Johnson trying to add a little bit more. Was set by Colbert, the pitch to Johnson. Strike called. Good hard slider over the outer portion of the knees. Jim Oldham is the ball and strike umpire this afternoon, with Marty Springstead at first, Larry McCoy at second, and Jim Honachek at third. The 1-strike pitch, low to Dave Johnson. 1 ball, 1 strike. Time called now as Johnson wants plate umpire Oldham to take a look at the baseball. He looks it over, and apparently it's all right, and returns it to Colbert. Though it is a cold afternoon in Cleveland, you have to be thankful for small gifts. The wind is not blowing too strongly. Now the 1-1 offering. High fly ball, deep center. Back goes Bradford. Still back, near the 400-foot sign. He makes the catch. to retire Johnson and the Orioles at the end of 6 1/2. Baltimore 3, Cleveland nothing.
In about a half hour, there will be 3 American League ball games underway. Detroit at New York has Mickey Lolich against Mel Stottlemyre. Milwaukee at Chicago. Slayton against John. And Oakland at Minnesota will have Segui against Perry. In the American League tonight, Boston at Washington, Nagy against Schellenbach. California at Kansas City will have Skeeter Wright against Jim Rooker. In the National League, the afternoon game at Montreal between the Expos and the Mets has been postponed. Later this afternoon, Houston at San Francisco with Griffin against Rehberger. In the National League tonight, the Pirates at Philadelphia, Moose against Fryman. Cincinnati at Atlanta will match Cloninger against Nico. Chicago at San Diego will have Jenkins against Coon. St. Louis against the Dodgers in Los Angeles tonight has Royce against Osteen.
Well, Bill, here is the very classy Cleveland right fielder, Vada Pinson. He has twice flied to center fielder Paul Blair. Cuellar starts him with a big curve, but didn't find the strike zone. Ball 1. Bobby Hoffman coaches the third base side for the 71 Indians. Cuellar ready once more. And here's 1-1 offering to Vada. Another curve, this one is inside, and the count 2 balls, 1 strike to Vada Pinson. Cuellar has retired 14 in a row since Foster singled back in the second inning, and that is the lone Cleveland hit on the board. A single left by Roy Foster back in the second inning. The 2-1 to Pinson. Swinging a foul out of play behind the plate. 2-2 now. So we're watching a rather flawless pitching performance by Mike Cuellar through the first 6 innings. Cuellar has walked a batter and struck out a batter and given up the 1 hit to Foster. Here's his 2-2 to Vada Pinson. Ground foul off the first base side, and the count will hold at 2-2. Cuellar full of breaking stuff. Good curveball. Screwball. A good fastball. Cuellar ready to go once more. The 2-2 to Pinson is a ball 3 just inside. Another off-speed breaking pitch from the clever Mike Cuellar. So the string has run out to Vada Pinson. 3 balls, 2 strikes. As Cuellar starts to move, here comes the payoff pitch. Ground ball, sharply hit, is knocked down to the second baseman, thrown to Cuellar at first, over his head, and reaching safely is Vada Pinson. And he gets to Barron, backed up the play. Powell going hard to his right, couldn't get to the ball. Dave Johnson did on the outfield grass, and then going away from his throwing target, launched a desperate throw and threw it over the head of Cuellar, and Pinson is on with a base hit. So the string will stop at 14. With a leadoff single to Vada Pinson. Now here comes Ray Fosse. He and young Thurman Munson are 2 of the finest-looking young catchers to come into the American League for quite some time. Fosse hit into a 4th play and grounded to 3rd. Cuellar kicks and fires a ball low and outside. Well, they had Grant Jackson and Jim Harden throwing in the Oriole bullpen, and now Dick Hall has taken over for Harden. Jackson also is sitting down now. Powell holding with Pinson at first to set by Cuellar. 1-0 to Fosse. Here's the ball 2 up high. 2-0. In the Indians' home opener, they had to rally in the late innings. Came on with 3 runs in the last 2 innings to beat the Red Sox 3-2. Pitch to Fosse. High fly ball, left center field. Blair and Retton on a conversion. And it will be Paul Blair making the catch off in the alley in left center for the first out of the inning. Fosse retired, and a fly ball to center fielder Blair. Here now is the Hawk, Ken Harrelson. And he's quite a different-looking Harrelson this year than in bygone years. The long, flowing locks have been shorn. He still has a bit of a mod hairstyle, but nothing compared to what he used to have. He was robbed of a base hit on a fine fielding play by Belanger in the second inning, and then bounced out to Belanger in the 4th inning. Time called by Odom. And he wanted the second base umpire, Larry McCoy, to move over just a little bit so that Cuellar would not be throwing out of it. Cuellar looks to first, delivers to the off, down low, ball one. And the Indians are heating up a left-hander, Steve Mingori. Now the 1-0 to Ken Harrelson with Simpson at first and one away. High foul ball will be out of play on the first base side as Harrelson tried to stop the swing and didn't get the bat out of the way. Now the 1-1 offering to the waiting Ken Harrelson. Cuellar kicks and deals a curve, a high pop fly, shallow left, but glances down. Belanger is racing back. The shortstop is getting to it and makes the grab. Belanger must have gone 20, 30 yards back on the outfield grab to get that pop off the bat of Harrelson. 2 gone in the Indian half of the 7th, and here now is Roy Foster. Until Simpson singled opening the 7th inning, Foster owned the only Indian base hit way back in the 2nd inning. Following that single to left field, Cuellar then rolled over 14 Indians in a row. The pitch coming to Foster. Low and outside, ball one. Left-handed Steve Mingori warming in the Cleveland bullpen. The warm-ups are now posted from New York. Lolich for the Tigers and Peterson for the Yankees. The pitch, curve, ground ball, sharply hit toward Brooks at third. It's by him and out into left field. A base hit for Foster, holding second base, Veda Pinson. Brooks charged to the glove side, seemed to be about ready to make the pickup when the ball suddenly flat hot and scooted right on by him. In the left field for a base knock. Pinson stops at second. Foster is 2 for 3 against Cuellar. And here now is Eddie Leone. Leone struck out against Cuellar in the 2nd and hit a ground ball to Johnson at 2nd in the 5th inning and was thrown out. The Indians runners at 1st and 2nd and 2 away. Cuellar kicks and fires. 5 with a fastball. Ball 1. Dick Hall is getting ready in the Oriole bullpen. Mingori, a little southpaw, in the Indian bullpen. As Cuellar is ready now with a 1-0 pitch to Eddie Leone. Here it is. High foul out of play. And the count is even to the ball and a strike. With a 1-1 offering to a right-hand swinging Eddie Leone. Inside with a fastball. Drives him out of there. 2 balls and strike. There are 2 down. Veda Pinson, the runner at second base. Foster, the runner at first base. And a count of 2 balls, 1 strike to Eddie Leone as Cuellar kicks and throws. High fly ball, right field way. Frank Robinson going to his right is getting under now. Frank makes the catch for the final out. That's it for Cleveland. No runs, 2 hits, and 2 left. At the end of 7, Baltimore 3, Cleveland nothing.
Well, there's a big day coming up for the youngsters, especially in Baltimore over the weekend. We refer to the Sunday afternoon 2 o'clock game with the Yankees in town. Big because Sunday will be Cap Day at Memorial Stadium. On Sunday, all of you youngsters 14 years of age and under, all of you accompanied by a paying adult, will receive free of charge a 1971 championship Oriole baseball cap. 2 o'clock Sunday for Cap Day against the Yankees. I'm sure just as we had on Easter Sunday, we'll have a lot of our fine friends and youngsters down from the state of Pennsylvania. I'm reminded of that because in the Fan-O-Am home run contest between games on Sunday, we had 2 gentlemen taking part in the Fan-O-Am from Chambersburg, Pennsylvania. So Sunday, Cap Day against the Yankees.
All right, Bill, here is Boog Powell, and Vince Colbert quickly gets a strike called over the inside portion of the knees. One strike to Boog Powell. It'll be Powell, Frank Robinson, Paul Blair, in that order, against reliever Vince Colbert, who took over for Sam McDowell, who went the first 6 innings. Colbert throws inside low, and the count is 1 ball, 1 strike. Boog having a fine afternoon. He had a walk in the first inning, a 2-run home run in the third, and then struck out against McDowell in the 6th. Colbert's 1-1 to Powell. Inside again to the big man, 2 balls and a strike. The count of 2-1, Colbert delivers. Missed again with a breaking ball, and the count now is 3 balls, 1 strike to Boog Powell. And a tough pitch for young Mr. Colbert to make to the likes of Boog Powell. The young right-hander in the move. Here's the 3-1 to Boog. Missed outside with a ball 4. And this will be walk number 2 issued by the Cleveland reliever, Vince Colbert. He also spanned a pair and allowed 1 base hit. It came off the bat of pitcher Cuellar in the 7th. And now Frank Robinson hit into a double play in the first inning, topped the shortstop in the 3rd, and then sparked the Birds to their 3rd run in the 6th inning with a 2-out single in left field. Took second on a wild pitch and scored a moment later when Paul Blair doubled. The pitch to Frank. Looping fly ball right field. Vada Pinson coming up on the ball, still moving. Pinson is getting under it now and makes the grab to retire Frank Robinson. 1 gone. And now Paul Blair. Fly to center, ground out to 3rd, and a double to knock in the Orioles' 3rd run. And this will be Blair hitting from the first base side as a left-handed swinger against the right-hand offering of Vince Colbert. And now Vada Pinson shortens up a little bit in right field. He's kind of straight away. Bradford is straight away in center field, and they want the left fielder Foster to come on up a little bit more. The set by Colbert, the pitch to Blair. Ground foul down the first base side into the Indian dugout. Strike 1. And the 1 strike offering, inside low, a ball and a strike to Paul. Well, the Yankees and the Indians are just about getting ready to start back in New York. Lolich for the Tigers today and Peterson for the Yankees. The 1-1 to Paul Blair. Ground ball sharply hit right into the glove of the first baseman Harrelson. Tags up, throws to second base. The ball is dropped. Power is safe. It's down to the center field. Boog is up and on his way to third base. And will hold there. Sharply hit ground ball to Harrelson. He fielded it okay. Tagged the bag at first. That took care of Blair. Then throwing to second to try and get the tag play on Powell. He threw the ball away. It carried off Boog and out into center field, and Boog continued right on into third base. So it'll be an error, a throwing error for the first baseman, Ken Harrelson. Blair is retired on the unassisted putout by Harrelson at first base. And with 2 down, Boog is at third base, and here now is Brooks Robinson. Reached on an error in the 2nd inning. Strike call to Brooks, outside corner of the letters. Since that time, Brooks has flied to left and to center. The right-handed Colbert throws. Look out, high and tight, a fastball sailed up and in on Brooks, and he just did get out of the way. That's the 2nd time this afternoon that Brooks has had to get away from a head-high fastball. 1 ball, 1 strike to Brooks Robinson. Colbert is ready. Here's his pitch. Fly ball into center field. Bradford is going to his left to the glove side, and the center fielder makes the catch to retire Brooks for the final out of the inning. At the end of 7.5, Baltimore 3, Cleveland nothing. Well, when the Orioles come off the road into that extended 12-day road trip into Detroit, California, Oakland, and Kansas City, we'll have the start of some very special nights at Memorial Stadium.
We look, for example, the night of May 5th when the California Angels will be in town. That'll be Baltimore Safety Council night. Green Cross for Safety on May 5th against California. And as we look ahead to some other special nights, on the 12th of June when the Chicago White Sox are in town, it'll be Baltimore Gas and Electric night. And I'm sure those people who might be listening today up in Hanover, Pennsylvania, are looking forward to June the 29th for Hanover, Pennsylvania night against the Tigers. Okay, Chuck.
Here is Cuellar starting Buddy Bradford with a breaking pitch outside, ball one, and Chuck Hinton has moved into the on-deck circle for the Indians. And he will be batting for Vince Colbert. Cuellar rocks over the rubber and throws. He's high and outside, ball two. Ray Lamb is beginning to throw in the Cleveland bullpen, a smallish right-hander, with a 2-0 pitch. Strike called as Bradford was taking all the way. The Indians trailing by 3 runs. The count 2 balls and a strike to the right-hand batting Buddy Bradford. Here's Cuellar's move and the 2-1 offering to Buddy. Line drive base hit toward the alley, left center field. Retman going hard to his left, cuts it off and holds Bradford to a leadoff single. And out Chuck Hinton. Here is Hinton, appearing for the Cleveland Indians. He's been to the plate twice with a base hit. Check that, been to the plate twice without a base hit. He has scored a run. And Cuellar is ready to face the right-hand swinging Chuck Hinton. Cuellar's pitch. Ground ball, sharply hit. Brooks dives, knocks it down, throws to second base. They get one out at second, and that's all they can get. Brooks Robinson with a beautiful diving, steering stop of a smash off the bat of Chuck Hinton was able to recover and make a throw to second base to get the fourth on Bradford coming down for the first out of the inning. A beautiful defensive play by Brooks Robinson, like so many that he made in the 70 World Series. Pete Rickard and Eddie Watt are heating up in the Oriole bullpen, and now the top of the Cleveland batting order, and this is Larry Brown. Fly to right, foul to the catcher, fly to left. Right-handed batsman. Cuellar's pitch. Line drive knocked down by Cuellar on the mound. He picks up, throws to second base, one, and they get no return throw to first base. A line drive. Cuellar knocked it down, lost the ball momentarily, then quickly picked it up, and threw to Dave Johnson at second base to get the fourth of Hinton coming down the line. For the second out of the inning, and on that play we pause for station identification. This is the Baltimore Orioles Baseball Network.
This is Galen Crom. Too busy to keep informed? Don't stop, don't look. Just listen to Radio 11 WBAL Baltimore.
The batter is left-hand swinging Greg Nettles, and the curve is outside, ball one. Nettles' walk went out unassisted to Cuellar and unassisted to Bruce Howell. Rickard and Watt in the Oriole bullpen. Now the 1-0 pitch to Greg Nettles. Cuellar delivers. High pop-up off the third base side and foul ground. Brooks Robinson is following it, still in foul ground. He makes the grab for the final out of the inning, and that's it for Cleveland in their half of the 8th inning. At the end of 8, Baltimore 3, Cleveland 0.
Against the Orioles in the top of the 9th inning, the Indians bring on their second relief pitcher of the afternoon. This is right-hander Ray Lamb, ex of the Los Angeles Dodgers. Lamb and tomorrow night's scheduled Indian starter Alan Foster came over to the American League during the winter in exchange for ex-Cleveland catcher and outfielder Duke Sims. Lamb comes on to replace Vince Colbert, who pitched the 7th and the 8th innings. Colbert gave up 1 base hit, no runs, struck out 2, and he walked 2. Pitchers are in on the Oakland-Minnesota game this afternoon. It'll be Diego Segui for Oakland and left-handed Tom Hall for Minnesota. Here at Cleveland, the Orioles behind Mike Cuellar are leading 3-0, and against Lamb in the 9th, they lead off with Andy Etchebarren and Chuck Thompson.
Andy Etchebarren facing the right-handed Ray Lamb. Lamb into the move, and the first offering to Etchebarren. High pop foul outside of first. Giving chase is Ken Harrelson, and it's going to be into the seats and out of play. One strike to Etchebarren. McGee against Tom Hall. Is that correct, Bill? No, in a recent Sports Illustrated magazine article in a system of determining the worth of a pitcher devised by George Sisler and his daddy, this fellow Tom Hall turned out to be the best in the American League. Now the one-strike offering to Etchebarren. High for a ball. That might be very true on paper. I think I'd still take Mr. Cuellar, Mr. McNally, Mr. Palmer. And meaning no disrespect to Tom Hall. Now the 1-1 offering to Andy Etchebarren. Swing and a miss. Good fastball from Lamb, who's got quite a leg kick to his pitching delivery. Bill?
I think maybe, Chuck, if we narrowed that down pound for pound, ball's what, 150, 155?
Ring and wet. The 1-2 pitch to Etchebarren. Foul ball back on the screen. But unless you get to misunderstand me, I'm not knocking that evaluating system that was devised by Mr. Sisler and his daddy, because that system of judging pitchers has been beneficial to the Orioles. Matter of fact, Mr. Cuellar is here for one of more reasons. Here's a strike 3 call to Etchebarren. That system was taken into consideration when the Orioles obtained Cuellar from Houston. So Ray Lamb strikes out Etchebarren to start the top of the 9th inning, and here now comes Mark Belanger. Belanger line to the third baseman, pop to the second baseman, and walk. The right-handed Lamb delivers. Strike called. Big high leg kick from Lamb as he delivers each pitch. And the right-hander brings the arm down, delivers a little bit low this time. 1 ball and 1 strike. Sun's still with us, and all of the playing area, with the exception of home plate, in bright sunshine. So the ball is coming out of the sunshine into the shadows, which makes it a little more difficult for the hitter. The 1-1 offering. Fly ball left right field away. Veda Pinson going to his left is there, and the Indians right fielder takes care of the line drive off the bat of Mark Belanger. 2 down. And now here comes Mike Cuellar. And he's had a good afternoon at the plate and a spectacular afternoon on the mound. Cuellar 1 for 3. And it goes without saying that this is not the kind of weather that Cuellar would prefer. He is a hot weather pitcher. Apparently it must be nice and warm out on that mound, because he has really looked fine this afternoon. The pitch to Cuellar. Swing and a miss. Strike 1.
Chuck, somebody tried to psych Mike in the dugout prior to game time, aware that, we're in the mid-30s. They said, look, Mike, it's mid-August. You've won 19 games. Get your 20th today.
Pretty good idea. The 1-strike pitch to Cuellar. Swing and a miss at a big curveball from Lamb. Oh, we walked in the clubhouse earlier, Bill, and I said something about, kind of a tough day. And Cuellar said, I feel good in here, meaning in the clubhouse. Now the 2-strike pitch to Cuellar. Lamb, Cleveland's right-hander, is ready to go, and the pitch coming down to Cuellar. Curved him and struck him out. Swing and a miss, and Cuellar goes down. At the end of 8.5, the score, Baltimore 3, Cleveland 0.
The Orioles lead the Indians. We move to the bottom of the 9th inning. And against Mike Cuellar, the Indians will send up Veda Pinson, Ray Fosse, and Ken Harrelson. As we try to keep warm here in Cleveland, right beside the shores of Lake Erie this afternoon, certainly hope that all you good Baltimore Bullet fans will warm up the Civic Center in downtown Baltimore tonight. And from Chuck Johnson, from Ken Kimball, our engineer-producer, and from yours truly, Bill O'Donnell, we certainly wish the very best to Gene Shue and all the Bullets tonight when they take on the Knicks. And it will be 8 o'clock at the Civic Center. All right, Chuck.
Bill, they have done, I think, an amazing job. They're trailing the Knicks in the playoff series. When you consider the injuries and the problems that Gene Shue and the Bullets have faced, these kids have just been fantastic. And we can't wish them enough good luck for tonight's effort. Well, here we go to the 9th inning, and Veda Pinson leads off against Cuellar. The beautiful curve is in. The strike is called to Pinson. Pinson is 1 for 3 against Mike. Through 6 innings, Cuellar stopped the Indians on 1 base hit. They nicked him for 2 in the 7th inning and 1 more in the 8th. Curveball, and this one just a little bit high, and Cuellar felt he might have gotten a better call. 1 ball and 1 strike. Now the 1-1 offering to the left-hand swinging Veda Pinson. Cuellar throws, curving, ground foul down the first base side into the Indian dugout. 1-2 to Pinson. Pinson, Fosse, and Harrelson, a big, tough trio for Cuellar to work on in the bottom of the 9th inning here in Cleveland, with Baltimore leading 3-0. Now the 1-2 offering. Here it is. Low outside, 2-2 to Pinson. Watt and Rickard are ready in the Oriole bullpen. And the 2-2 offering to Veda Pinson. Just low inside. Ball 3, a full count now to the Indian right fielder. To the move, the 3-2 pitch, curve, foul ball, yanked down the right field side. It's going to be out of play. And we'll go right back to another 3-2. Cuellar carefully backing off the mound to the infield grass before blowing on that hand. Now toes the rubber, looks for the sign, and here we go again with a 3-2 to leadoff hitter Veda Pinson. Cuellar throws. High fly ball, right field way. Frank Robinson is tracking it okay. Back in the corner in right field. He makes the catch. 1 gone in the bottom of the 9th inning. Pinson on a fly ball deep into the right field corner. It is 3:20 down the line here in this big ballpark. 400 straight away to center field. And 365 down the power alleys in left and right center. Now it's announced swing to the third base side and to the left field side as Ray Fosse comes on against Cuellar. Fosse 0 for 3. Hit into a fourth, ground to the third, slide to center. Cuellar's pitch to Fosse. High, ball 1. Another off-speed pitch. Cuellar has thrown many, many off-speed pitches this afternoon. Now Cuellar's 1-0. High, ball 2, the fastball this time. 1 ball, 1 strike. 2 balls and no strikes. Out and nobody on. The Orioles 3, the Indians nothing. Bottom of the 9th. Cuellar ready now with a 2-0 to Fosse. Here it is. Right down Broadway, as the saying goes. Strike is called. 2-1. The 2-1 offering to Fosse. High pop fly, shallow right center. Johnson going back. Frank Robinson coming on. It'll be Johnson, the second baseman, making the grab. Pretty well back in the outfield grass. 2 down now as Fosse pops to the second baseman. And to the plate for the Indians comes Ken Harrelson. Fine defensive play from Mark Belanger. Got him in the 2nd inning. Since that time, he has grounded to short and popped to short. Pitch to Harrelson is low inside, ball 1. Well, the Orioles had good luck against the Indians last year, winning 14 and dropping only 4. Ball 2 is low and inside. As a matter of fact, the Orioles last season started with 8 straight wins over the Cleveland Indians. Cuellar behind to the hitter. Ken Harrelson with a count 2 balls, no strikes, delivers. Ball 3 is high, 3-0. The 3-0 pitch to Harrelson. Strike is called, and the Hawk was under wraps, taking all the way. Flashes another quick look to his third base coach, Bobby Hoffman, and see whether you'll be hitting or taking on the 3-1. Here it is. Swinging a line drive down the left field side, hooking foul and out of play. So we have a full count to Harrelson. 2 down and nobody on, bottom of the ninth. The Orioles leading at 3-0, and Cuellar battling to get the final out of the ball game in his first win of 71. The 3-2 pitch to Harrelson. Changed up, pops up. Back by the second baseman Johnson, racing back, and he dives and held on to it. Johnson made a leaping grab over his shoulder and then lost his balance, fell down, rolled over, held the ball up to second base umpire Larry McCoy to see. And Cuellar has won his first game of the year, and the Orioles have blanked the Indians. That's it. The Orioles win at 3-0. They'll be back with today's game totals after this message.